everyone, welcome back. I'm Jenna.
And I'm Mark. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Cincinnati Zoo Tales. Jenna, today's a celebration. We're helping celebrate 150 years of the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden being open. It's insane to think it's been 150 years. That's like an unfathomable amount of time.
I know, and things have changed so much since then. It's crazy to think the zoo is that old. Yeah, all year long, the Cincinnati Zoo will be celebrating, the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden, because we've been a garden since the beginning.
Yep.
We'll be celebrating its 150 years of existence. So there will be a lot going on this year and a lot of exciting things. We just want to give you guys a few updates of what you can expect coming this year.
Yes, definitely. So stay tuned throughout the year. I'm sure our social media pages and online we'll be posting out a lot of the ways that we are celebrating, because there's a lot of events going on from spring all the way to stuff that I know we've got lined up in the fall. So it's a year-long celebration that we're really happy about. Like you mentioned, so the Cincinnati Zoological Society was founded in 1873, but we officially opened our doors in September of 1875. So it's been quite a long time. There's been tons and tons of changes over the years. It's almost hard to believe where we started. I don't even know where to begin with the changes, because so much has happened.
I know. Sometimes you look back in books, or I have an old postcard and I think about, I know you just have to start somewhere and you always want progress and
yeah.
Things are ever changing and people do the best they can with what they know at the time. But holy cow, I look back at some of those pictures and it makes me really sad. I'm
Definitely.
very grateful for the things that we have changed and made better for animals in zoos in general. But I started as an intern in 2009 and I've seen this zoo change the way they build habitats, and just the zoo in general, parking lots and everything are so different just in the last 15 years. So to think 150 years how different things are is crazy.
It really is. And like you mentioned, not only has our zoo, the Cincinnati Zoo, changed a lot, but the whole field of zookeeping and animal care, it has really changed. It's come so far. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, animal welfare wasn't even really a thing. People didn't even really consider the needs of the animals. It was really just, this is an exhibition. This is a place where you can come and look at these exotic creatures that you can't see anywhere else. And it was more of just entertainment, really. It wasn't necessarily here for conservation purposes. It wasn't here to help these animals in the wild. It was just entertainment. And I think the way the field has changed and the way our habitat design and animal welfare has changed over the years has really shown, where our priorities have changed. Going from just, hey, come and look at these animals, this is pretty crazy, to, hey, let's do right by these animals, and by succeeding for the animals, we're also going to be succeeding for the guests. And there's something to see for both of them.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's important to remember that especially zoos these days are doing a lot to help with conservation and the education piece and just inspiring people. And I think we could do a whole episode, which had just popped into my mind, maybe we should, of all of the things our crew department has done over the years for animal reproduction and animal health and things. But there's just been so many changes from how, the habitats are designed to where you're trying to get guests closer to the animals, but giving them better welfare. So, went from just cages and bars to now open air habitats with moats or glass, so you can get, nose to nose with John
literally.
the lion, So much has changed, including how we do enrichment and training and veterinary care and so many different things.
And that's another one, like you mentioned, just in the time that, we've been at the zoo, which throughout our zoo's history is only a minuscule amount of time. But just since the two of us have been at the zoo, there's been so many strides as far as operant conditioning and training and medical treatment for the animals. It's all come so far. It's become a lot more preventative.
Yes,
preventative
definitely.
medicine has really become, a thing that we train for and a thing that we prioritize. One of the changes that we're talking about, how much the zoo's changed, that really pop into my mind, to really illustrate it, is our reptile house. So our reptile house, when it first opened, it was the monkey house.
Oh my gosh.
So think of the spaces that, reptile house currently has for our king cobras and, our Gila monsters, all those animals that we have over there.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, it initially opened as a monkey house with chimpanzees and gibbons and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost hard to believe that, beautiful but fairly small building once housed all these different primates.
Yes.
Is insane.
and I think there were like cages on the outside, like true cages,
Yeah.
you know. And also we mentioned, you know, the zoo opened 150 years ago in September of 1875. We are the second oldest established zoo.
Yes.
Behind the Philadelphia Zoo. But the reptile building, I'm pretty certain, is the oldest zoological building in the country.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is wild, and why it'll never change. It's like on the historic registry.
Yep. And it is still so beautiful.
Yeah.
After all these years, you know, like our zoo's done such a great job at, you know, rehabbing it and renovating it over the years. And obviously it's gone through a lot of changes because it used to house primates, but it is still such a beautiful building to go in and look around.
That actually, I just remembered there used to be snow monkeys there attached to the reptile house. Like, that wasn't that long ago.
Right outside
And
the building.
now
Yeah.
it's bald eagles and the gorgeous, like, Galapagos tortoise habitat. But that was, like, within my career, and it seems like forever ago.
Yeah, I remember
But-
growing up, it was the Japanese macaques,
Yes,
right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Man.
And as a lot of you probably know, there is a ton of construction currently going on, and I know it can be frustrating to everyone, visitors and animal keepers and animal staff, and I'm sure the people working on it. But
It's all for the best,
Yes,
right? We want
exactly.
to make good changes. We're continuing the progress that our zoo's made over 150 years, and we're continuing to make strides in the right direction.
right, and so it'll be better for guests. It'll be better for animals. I think what was it, the 50s and the 60s is when the bear grottos came about. I don't know. I
Yeah.
could be wrong with the timing. It might have been further back,
It may
but
have been earlier than that, yeah.
that was like amazing at the time. Like one of the best things
It was
you
state
could
of the
offer.
art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
state of the art for sure. And now, you know, we're like, no, we got to do better than that, which is
Mm-hmm.
so important. And that's one of the reasons, you know, we can say we're proud to work at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden, because we're always trying to do better. So there's a lot going on, but the zoo has such a really like a special history. It's so special to the city of Cincinnati.
Definitely.
I feel like we have the strongest community ever, like that supports the zoo, which is really important. But we're very excited that this year's 150 years. So we have a ton of things coming up. One of the most fun and like newest. Sorry, did you have anything else on the history before I go on?
And I'm sure we'll
Okay.
sprinkle it in throughout the pod while we're talking. Yeah.
Something I'm really excited about that I never would have guessed I was excited about or would be excited about is this pin trading that the zoo is doing.
Oh yeah, it's such a fun thing. Yeah.
So they're really, really cute. And I think that's part of the reason I like it. But it's a good way to have guests and employees interact on more of a, I don't know if natural is the right word, but it, like you have an excuse to talk to someone.
It's an
kind of.
icebreaker.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
easy
exactly.
icebreaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you come to the zoo over the next year, you will have the opportunity to buy pins at the gift shop, and you can also trade those pins with a volunteer or any staff wearing a lanyard with pins on them for exclusive pins or just one that you want that you didn't find in the gift shop. But they'll come out with exclusive ones every month, and it's just something to kind of like keep the excitement going throughout the
Yeah.
year and celebrate, you know, different things. But one of my favorites that recently came out just this month for Zoo Babies Month in May is a stork carrying a giraffe, a baby giraffe. And so I think we were like the first zoo ever to have a giraffe born in the West.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
In the Americas, right? Like.
Yes, and it was forever ago, and I don't have the right information, but it's on the back of the pin. If you buy it, there's info on there. But
Yeah, and the pin designs are awesome.
Oh,
like,
yes.
The team who's in charge of creating like the graphic designs for these pins, they're doing an incredible job because they're all so cool. One of the ones that I just thought was like just awesome was Thane holding the crocodile.
yes, it's
I
the
love
most,
that one.
Like
It's dead on.
classic, perfect. Yeah.
If you've come to the zoo for a long time, like, you know, we obviously grew up coming to the zoo and stuff. You've seen Thane somewhere in the zoo with a baby,
Yes.
a baby alligator.
alligator,
Sorry, not
for
crocodile, alligator. Yeah.
Yes. Shout out to Amy LaBarbera. I think she's the one behind designing a lot of those
Okay.
pins. But I found the info. The first giraffe born in the Western Hemisphere was at the Cincinnati Zoo in 1889. And more than 100 years later, the zoo would be the first to live tweet a giraffe birth. I just think it's fun that the pins bring a little history and like your favorite animals.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that the first giraffe born in the Western Hemisphere was here at the
That's
Cincinnati
incredible.
Zoo. So yeah, there's these pins.
Do you have a favorite pin design? Like off the top of your, is it the
gosh.
stork? Because that one is really cool. That
It
one's
is
really cool.
No, the very, very popular one right now, it's probably my favorite, is Tucker with a spinning tail. So it's essentially
Yeah.
as males dung shower. It's like a back view of Tucker, but his head is turned so you can see his face and the spots on his face, but his tail does a 360 spin like he does when he dung showers. So
Yep.
it's perfect. It's really fun, of course, for us and those of us that get to take care of Tucker and love Tucker. But oh man, the Zoo Blooms one is gorgeous.
That one is cool.
There's
yeah.
a Fiona one with ears that move. They're on like little springs.
I like the cheetah cub and dog where it's the heart.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that goes together,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
that's
that's a cool
super
one
cute.
too. I know I've got to get better at it. So far, I know I've been like, I'm always paranoid to wear something around my neck because like I've got this fear that I'm gonna drop something like in
Yeah.
an animal exhibit or something, you know. So like I haven't been wearing my like a lanyard around the zoo because I'm always just worried I'm gonna drop it in an animal
Right.
area. I'm just so paranoid about it.
So yeah, if you're visiting and you see a staff member without a lanyard on, it's probably because we work with animals and we have to remember to put it on if we're going out for guest
Yeah.
interaction specifically, because we do worry about so much falling off into animal habitats. But definitely do not be afraid to approach somebody with a lanyard or anyone. It
Yeah.
should be helpful to you and for any reason. But yeah, you can trade these pins and there will be new ones every month, and yeah, they're super fun. Super
Something to
exciting.
look forward to each month. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So we mentioned there's a lot of, construction, but it's for the best. But something that is finished now is Elephant Trek and Simon
Yes.
Point. And it looks amazing.
It's beautiful. I know. It's like you said, just opened this spring. Like officially, it's all finished. If you haven't gotten the chance to make it to the zoo to see it, it's incredible. Not only is it, the last portion of the Elephant Trek, which there was no public viewing area to see that last yard, when Elephant Trek opened in the fall. And now you can really, truly appreciate the size of Elephant Trek because you can see all of it. It's massive.
It's incredible. We were looking at it the other day, and my husband was like, can you imagine living in that house? And I looked all the way across, and there is a house that actually has like windows that face the elephant yard. And I don't know with the terrain if they can see it,
way.
but it looks as though like whoever lives in this house is really lucky they could see elephants out of their backyard now.
That's
because
crazy.
It's like such an expansive, I think it used to be like they probably just had trees or parking lot view, and now they have elephants in their
They
backyard.
upgraded.
Essentially.
And property value's
Yes.
going up there.
But it's such a cool view. The yard is so big that you could be looking at half of it and not see an elephant.
Yeah.
But as long as you walk around, you'll see elephants somewhere.
And
because
it almost feels like, at least for, someone I've been lucky enough to go on a safari in Africa, and obviously we're talking about Asian elephants, right? Not African elephants, but as someone who's been lucky enough to go over there and see it, it really does almost feel like a safari where, like, you don't know what vantage point you're going to see an elephant. You might have to turn a corner or go around a hill, and then finally, like, you turn the corner and there it is right in front of your face. Like, it really does feel so natural to me. Like, that's been the biggest thing that I've thought every time I've gone down to the habitat.
That's a good point. Yes, it is. It's such a cool habitat, and hopefully we'll have elephant babies in the future. They
Fingers
take
crossed.
forever to make, but hopefully we'll have them. Asian small-clawed otters might be the cutest thing ever.
They're precious.
And we're really excited. An episode coming up, we will have Wendy Rice, our old coworker. Well, she's still a coworker, but she left the Africa department.
Yeah,
How
we're
rude.
not salty at all. We're
Not
not
at all.
salty about it.
No, I don't blame her. I think she's actually kind of crazy for starting another area, because Wendy and I helped start Africa way back when. And let me tell you, starting a new department,
Stressful.
it's a lot. You have to get to know the animals. You have to order all the tools. Anyways, Wendy will tell us about that. But those otters are adorable, and I know she loves working with them. We have 2 Simon Gibbons in that area, 2 gorgeous rhinoceros hornbills, which are so fun to watch. And it's just a really neat area. So definitely check that out. It is completely open now.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil anything too much because, like you said, we're going to have Wendy on. We're going to have the chance to talk to Wendy. But, like, I know something that's already been a hit with visitors is the Simang. They have the opportunity to actually, like, walk across the public pathway in this, like, overhead chute. It's just a really cool experience if you happen to be lucky enough to be down there at the right time to see them shift across it.
I don't know why, but there was a video that the zoo shared, and it kind of creeps me out. The way they move in there, like they walk like kind of, I don't don't know, it like reminds me of like E.T. or something.
Looks like the Slender Man, if you've ever seen like the Slender Man horror thing. Yeah.
Truly, it is a really cool setup, but I don't know. Seeing Gibbons walk is kind of funny. So yeah, that is completely open. But as anybody who's been here recently probably knows, there are a lot of new habitats currently still under construction, but close. I don't have exact dates for any of this, but something that we haven't talked about as much, or that I've seen shared as much, I guess, is a New World primate habitat. And it's located in jungle trails, and it'll have a multi-species primate habitat, which is
cool.
Like something I don't know if I've ever seen. I've seen, I guess, gibbons and orangutans.
Yeah.
Anyways, it'll be really cool. I think they all naturally live at different levels of the canopy in the wild, so they'll cohabitate this space like really well, I think is the goal, as what I've heard. But so there will be golden-headed lion, tamarins, white-faced saki monkey, and black howler monkeys. So I don't know when that opens, but
I feel like it's supposed to open late spring, early summers, last I heard. Obviously, you know how construction goes. That's obviously subject to change, and
weather.
Hopefully, the weather.
So much rain.
It's been so rainy this spring for us, so I'm sure that all the construction projects are running a little bit behind. But yeah, we're looking forward to that opening. It's right as you enter that jungle trails habitat. It's before you get to the first building, so it's going to be a new space like along the jungle trail, and it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be awesome. There's just verticality to the habitat so that it can.
Oh, good word.
Yeah. Oh,
never heard that word.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I've never heard anyone use it.
Brushing up on my vocab lately. But yeah, it's just got a lot of verticality to the habitat, which allows for these different species to be able to coexist in the same space. So it'll be really exciting, really fun. I'm sure it'll come along with new challenges for the primate team, I'm sure. But that's always part of opening a new habitat,
right.
like we said.
Yes. Hopefully they all get along.
Yeah.
It's not too difficult. And then something that is very much awaited by many people is Bear Ridge.
Yes.
They've run into a lot of issues with that, and then Elephant Trek was taking, a lot of time.
The manpower.
Yeah, manpower.
Yeah.
But hopefully, opening fall of 2025 will be Bear Ridge, and we will have black bears back at the zoo again. I think it'll be a pretty awesome habitat. I think it'll allow visitors to get really close. There won't be that moat in between you and the bears anymore. It should be really cool, as well as, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah,
something?
the bears also, kind of like you mentioned, we're trying to make these habitats so that you can get closer and closer to the animals, and close enough to care is what we like to say, right? So like we've got our lion habitat right now where you can get face to face, nose to nose with John. I know the black bear habitat is going to have a space where there's a glass viewing panel, and if you get lucky enough, you might even be able to get nose to nose with a black bear, which is going to be really cool, especially in a change from the old space where at the time when it opened, like we said, it was state of the art and it was amazing, our old grottos, but now you'll actually be able to get within inches of a black bear, so it'll have really cool viewing opportunities for sure.
And I think the habitat will have a lot more land space, without the moat and all of that. And I think it's always awesome to open new, or just in general have animals that are a little closer, like native wise, I'm not saying this very eloquently, but like I like having animals that can be out all year round and like do well in this climate, and you don't have to worry about them being too hot or too cold or those sorts of things. And I think black bears are a good fit for that area.
Definitely. And it's going to be an animal, like you said, like maybe you drive down to Tennessee or you go on a road trip to Gatlinburg or something, and you might actually have a chance to see this animal in the wild. But if you don't have a chance, even though it might be in your backyard, you'll be able to come to the zoo and still see them. It'll be really cool. I feel like the public, at least from people that I've talked to, are really excited about it. It's been too long since we've had bears at our zoo. Obviously, it's all for a good reason. We're trying to work on a new space for them, but I think bears are going to be a new welcome addition for sure.
I think so too. Yeah, I think everyone will be very excited when that is done for many reasons, but mostly because of the bears. And then one of my very favorite animals, sea otters. So Sea Otter Coast is supposed to open in fall of 2025 as well. It'll be right next to the black bears, and also there will be like an adventure trail, so kind of a human interaction space where you can rest in the shade or play little games and such. So it's going to look a lot different, and I think this fall is going to be really, really exciting. But I don't know for sure how the sea otter situation will work, but I think often sea otters that live in zoos are rescues. And I just think it'll be really neat to be a part of another rescue program, kind of like our manatee program. I don't know that there will be a release program, but rehab and, taking care of any animals that may have been orphaned or injured, we'll have the space now to potentially do that. This is just me. No one's told me any of this, but I assume it'll be some sort of...
I was under the same impression. I was almost under the impression it's going to be a little bit like our eagle space, where like these are eagles that aren't able to be released back into the wild, where we might get otters that can no longer go back into the wild, but we can provide them with a good home and a good life while they're here. And that's going to be a really cool space. It's going to be so interesting because the space that they're going to be in, when I was growing up and coming to the zoo, it was a polar bear habitat. So it's going to be quite a big change from what it used to be. But who doesn't love sea otters, right? Like,
they're so cute.
They're precious. It'll be awesome.
Cute. It'll be amazing. So another thing that's happening now, currently, it is weather-based and all sorts of things, so no promises, but you would have a really good chance of seeing our cheetah cubs. If you come like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, the Cat Ambassador team is making their best attempt to have all 3 cheetah cubs out in the cheetah habitat next to base camp from 10:30 to 11 in the morning, and then also again at 2:30 to 3. So if you've been wanting to see these really cute additions, you can most likely see a cheetah cub or 2 or 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. 10:30 to 11 or 2:30 to 3. So that's something to look forward to.
The couple times I've been able to see them in that space, they look like they love it. Like they're running around. There's 3 of them. They're always kind of horse playing with each other. It's a really fun opportunity, and there's some opportunities for keeper chats as well to listen to those keepers talk about what it was like raising them, the experience that they've had, and then how the kind of cubs are handling all the changes that have come their way. So they're precious. Like they're so cute.
Yes,
so that's a really cool opportunity. They're almost going through like that kind of like teenage change where they're starting to lose that scruff that they have. They're born with all the gray hair on their back. They're starting to lose it.
So cute. I haven't seen them in a while, just on social media.
Yeah.
I'll have to make a stop down there. So yeah, that's perfect for zoo babies too. Like May is Zoo Babies Month, so you'll see signs around the zoo highlighting our babies. Obviously, Fritz. He's not much of a baby anymore, but he still gets to be a part of Zoo
He's a big baby. He's a giant baby.
Speaking of babies.
Yeah, so one of our zoo babies that we currently have, we're highlighting, is Maple, our lesser kudu. She is recently just weaned within the last couple weeks, so she's no longer receiving formula. She's all big, all grown up, eating just solid food. So she weighs, trying to do the conversion in my head, she's 31 kilograms. So what is that in pounds? 65? Yeah, 65 pounds or so. So she's, the kudu grow up so quick, like a lot of hoof stock do. They have to be ready, always on edge for predators, so they have to grow really quickly. So it's hard to believe she's already, half the size of her mom, and she's only 6 months old. She was born back in October, so she's only 6 months old, but she's growing really quick. But one big change that we have in our Africa department is Maple's older sister, Maisie. Maisie girl just left us. She headed out to B. Bryan Preserve, which is a really large kind of more like a free-range animal park out in California. So she's there on a breeding recommendation through the SSP. B. Bryan is starting their own herd of lesser kudu. So they're bringing in a handful of kudu from across the country to start their own herd. It's really exciting. It's really sad for us because I love that girl to death.
She's your baby.
I know. I was just not ready for it. Not ready for it at all. But
the weather will be amazing for her.
Yes.
She will get to be outside all of the time and not have to worry about Cincinnati winters. But it's hard to have animals leave.
I know.
Even when it's for the best.
That's the one solace I take is like, number one, she's going to have a lot of space out there. It's these large, huge pastures that their animals are in. And then also, like you said, she doesn't have to face any more Cincinnati winters. This last winter in particular was really tough with the amount of snow we got. So our kudu were inside our barn, and we make do. We do the absolute best we can with it, but it's not the most ideal situation for a warm weather animal when Cincinnati gets 12 inches of snow in January. So she'll no longer have to face another Cincinnati winter. She'll be out all year round in these big pastures. So it's for the best. I'm really excited for her, but I'm going to miss her like crazy. For sure.
I guess you have to go to California.
Sure. Oh, shucks. Oh, no. California trip? That sounds miserable.
Well,
but we are highlighting Maple though right now.
Yes, yeah,
Maple's
Maple.
our zoo baby. So, and we've really been able to form. For me, I think I had a little bit of a more personal bond with Maisie just because she was like our first calf, and I bonded with her a little bit stronger. And Maisie also faced a few more issues, when she was younger. So we had to spend a lot more time hands-on with her because she did have a few health concerns that she was able to get past, and she ended up being just perfectly healthy. But those first couple weeks were a little bit scary, and we spent a lot more time with her because of it. Whereas Maple, I feel like she's been so independent. Like, it feels like from the minute she was born, she was like, I don't really need you guys as much as Maisie did. So, which is a good thing. I'm glad she's independent. But
I wasn't here for any of this, but I feel like Sabi also was just a tiny bit more motherly without being motherly at all. But like, she wasn't as afraid of Maple as she seemed to be like Maisie. She was like, I don't know what you are. Please go away. I don't know how you came out of me. And it just from the little bit I know, it seems like maybe Maple was a little bit more kudu than Maisie. Maisie's definitely like into people.
But yeah, Maisie definitely spooked Sabi. Like, Sabi reacted like Maisie was an alien. Like, she was terrified of her. So Maisie wasn't able to lean on Sabi quite as much. Whereas with Maple, even though Sabi wouldn't let Maple nurse, they still did form a bond. Like, every single night when they would lay down in their stalls and go to bed, they'd be laying in the same bed together side by side. So they still bonded pretty well. And Maple does a good job of following Sabi's lead. She'll follow her out into the yard in the morning. And then when it's time to come in at close at nighttime, she follows right behind Sabi to come back in. So they definitely have formed a little bit stronger of a bond, which is a good thing for sure.
Yes, definitely.
That's a good thing.
I'm sure there are a million more things that we could update everyone on, but we'll talk about them in future episodes, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Is there anything else you really wanted to talk about?
Nothing that really sparks off the top of my head. I don't know. Definitely, like you said, stay tuned for not only future episodes of Zoo Tales, because we'll be talking about some of these changes. Like I said, we're excited to have Wendy on to talk about Simang Point, but also keep posted on the Zoo's social media page. Track that, because they're going to be talking about some of the ways that we're celebrating 150 years, our 150th anniversary throughout the year. So stay tuned for sure. But if you're up for it, Jenna, I do have some zoo history trivia. Obviously, we're celebrating 150 years today.
I can only imagine how much I'll embarrass myself with this.
I've got
Let's do it. It's been a long time.
I'll say some of the highlights and some of the things that have happened at the zoo over the years. First question I have for you. We touched on it for a minute. It's currently Reptile House. It opened as Monkey House. It's the oldest existing zoo structure in the country. Do you know what year it opened?
Oh gosh. Was it open when the zoo opened?
1875. You got it. Yeah. 1875. You got it. So Reptile House, like you mentioned, the oldest zoo building in the country, opened in 1875 as Monkey House originally. But hard to believe that building, for as beautiful as it is, it's that old. It's crazy to think. It's still in such good shape.
I think they've done like some restorative work. It wasn't that recent, but yes, it's a very old building. It looks great for how old it is.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure, yeah. So Reptile House opened in 1875, oldest zoo building in the country. Next one I have for you, something that was very popular at the zoo. It ran for 50 years, was our zoo summer opera series.
Oh, yeah.
The opera series used to attract thousands of people throughout the years. It ran for 50 years. Do you know what year the opera series ended? So it used to run for 8 weeks during the summertime. Wow. It was a big event. People would show out from all across the city for the opera. But it's changed a little bit. I don't know if we did an opera at the zoo. I don't know what kind of turnout we'd get if we did that in 2025. But it was really popular back in the day. But what year did the last opera series run?
I'll 100% guess 1947.
47. It was running during 47.
Okay.
But 47 was not the last year. The last year was actually 1971.
Oh, wow.
So it ran from the early 1920s through the early 1970s.
Okay.
Which is quite a run.
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting to think too, like, we've obviously talked about some of the changes the zoo's gone through the years. Some of the stuff that the zoo has done to attract visitors over the years. Opera was very popular in that time, and it attracted a lot of people. Like, I think nowadays, like, our version of that is probably Festival of Lights, right?
Right.
Like, it runs for about 8 to 10 weeks, and people love it. People go crazy for it.
That's true. I wonder how, anyways, how the opera faded, why it was so popular, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. There was even, like, a little, like, clamshell where the opera would play in the zoo, which is, crazy to think, but I don't know.
Yeah, times have changed.
Times have changed for sure. All right, next question I have for you is a couple of attendance numbers. Okay. So today's attendance is roughly, on estimate, we get about 1.7 million visitors in 2024, roughly. 1.7 million in 2024. 100 years ago, 1925, what was the zoo's attendance?
Oh gosh, I'm going to totally mess this up. 100 years ago?
100 years ago, 1925.
Oh, I'll guess for the whole year.
For the whole year. Annual attendance, for the whole year.
34,000.
You're a little low. You're a little low.
Underestimating it.
So 1925.
Wait, let me guess again.
Okay, go ahead. It's somewhere between 30,000 and 1.7 million. I'll tell you that.
Wow, that's so helpful. How about 287?
It's about double that, actually.
Wow.
This surprised me, yeah. So in 1925, attendance was roughly 518,000.
I don't know why I thought it would. I guess
I would have guessed. I would have definitely guessed less than that. Like, I wouldn't have thought
there's
500,000 people.
And I don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe the only thing I can think of is, like, maybe there just weren't quite as many options around the city of stuff to do. Now it seems like the city's really blown up and there's tons of stuff to do all around Cincinnati. But back in the 1920s, I don't come to the zoo. I would have been living at the zoo back then. Like, what else would I have done? There was no TV. There's no nothing else. Like, what else are you gonna do? This is a bonus question. In 1925, when we had that attendance, what was the cost of admission at the zoo?
I have no idea. $1.50.
Less.
Less?
For adults, it was 25 cents.
Wow.
For kids, it was 10 cents. You could bring a family of 4 to the zoo for $1.
That's incredible.
Just 1925. Things have gone a long way in 100 years.
Yes, they have.
All right, so speaking of these attendance numbers, we mentioned we're at 1.7 million. In what year did the zoo hit 1 million for the first time? 1 million attendees over the whole year.
I feel like I was around for this. I feel like it was... No. No.
No comment. No comment.
Okay, it wasn't. I wonder what I'm thinking of then. Over 1 million? Really? Okay. So it was further back than I think?
It's farther back than I would have guessed.
Okay. Never mind then. Well, I was going to guess around 2010, but I guess I'll go 1995?
A little bit earlier. 95 is pretty close, though. 1984.
Really? Okay.
84, we hit 1 million attendees for the first time.
Huh. I wonder why I have like this vague memory of us being excited about 1 million, but clearly that is not right.
So it does look like we had a kind of a wax and wane period where, like, attendance dipped back down for a little while and then it popped back up. So, maybe what you could be thinking of is maybe we hit 1 million again.
Yeah, maybe.
For like a second peak, basically.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, we'll have to do some research about that. But 1984, we hit 1 million for the first time. It was something that our zoo is, proud's not necessarily the word, but proud is the word, actually. We housed 2 extinct species, and we were the last place to house these species. The passenger pigeon, which I think is one that is very famous. If bonus points, when did our last passenger pigeon pass away? Martha.
I know I should know this, but I don't.
It's early 1900s.
1903?
1914.
14. Okay.
Pretty close, though. But along with the passenger pigeon, we were also the last place to house a Carolina parakeet, which was the only parrot species endemic to the United States. They went extinct also in the early 1900s. In what year did our last Carolina parakeet pass away? His name was Incas.
I don't know. That's sad. Before or after?
It's after Martha.
Okay. 1942?
1918, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of back to back there. So there is like a nice shrine that you can go see for not only our passenger pigeons, but also our Carolina parakeets. It's in the Passenger Pigeon Memorial. So it's all in that same building. They have a little plaque for them, which is right across. It's right by Gorilla World now. It's one of the old aviaries, one of our original aviary houses, and it's a really small building. It's kind of easy to miss because it's back on a path, but it's across from Night Hunters, right by Gorilla World. If you ever want to take a look at some of the zoo's history, you got to know your history to learn from it. We were some of the last places to exhibit these animals, Carolina parakeet and passenger pigeon, and this is our whole goal now, right? Is to not let this happen to any more animals that we have here at the zoo, which is part of the reason that we've gotten so into breeding endangered species and researching endangered species. So along those lines, we are one of the world leaders now in research of endangered wildlife with the founding of CREW. In what year was CREW founded to hopefully prevent any of these animals from going extinct anymore?
Man, I didn't know there was more trivia. More embarrassment. 1976.
You're close in some regard. So our original research department was founded in 1981.
Okay.
So you're not far off there, but it wasn't officially renamed CREW.
Oh.
And founded as CREW until 1991.
Okay.
So our research division for endangered species opened in 81. But then CREW was formalized and officially opened in 1991.
Okay.
So.
Man.
But last question I have for you here. We know it today when we come into the zoo as Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. And you mentioned there have always been botanical gardens here. It's been gardens here from day one, but it wasn't always titled Botanical Garden. So we officially opened up as Cincinnati Zoological Gardens. And we changed our name to Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. In what year did we change our name to Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens?
I know I should know this because I think they mentioned it at the last all-employee meeting, but I have no idea.
I must have missed that meeting because I had no idea about this one.
Let's do 1889.
It's much later than that, actually.
Can we cut this? Let's say 1965.
1987. 1987.
I'll never forget that one.
1987. What shocked me, though, I didn't realize we've only been Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens for not even 40 years.
Right. I thought it was 100 years
That's not even a third of our history.
I know.
How we've been Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens, which is hard to believe. I would have guessed, I would have been closer to you. I'd have said, the early 1900s or something. But, yeah, crazy to think. I know. Some of our history right there. Some of our history.
That I won't remember anymore. Gosh, I haven't been down to the Passenger Pigeon Memorial in a decade. I didn't know about the parakeet.
Yeah, you gotta go pay your respects down there to Martha, the legend.
Yeah, I do. Well, do you have anything else?
I got nothing. No, like I said, stay tuned for future updates and some announcements regarding our 150-year celebration. But I've got nothing. What about you, Jenna? I've got one more question for you.
I was
if you've
going
got
to
nothing
say.
else.
No, I don't think I have anything else. I obviously have a terrible memory, so
if you think of it, we can always tack it on to the end of the episode.
No, come join the pigeon trading. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
and see zoo babies.
Yeah, come see zoo babies. Pin trading, that's another fun one for sure.
That's all I've got for now.
So we've talked about our 150-year celebration, but what about now? what can I do? What can I do to be a better steward of the earth, to be a better citizen, to be a better friend of the environment?
So something I learned recently from TikTok is
Shout out
that
to TikTok.
you should be cleaning behind your refrigerator, those coils. Did you know that?
I've not once done this ever in my whole life.
Right? So
No.
at least once every 50 years we should do this. No, but apparently you're supposed to vacuum the coils behind your refrigerator twice a year. And I had no idea. So I don't know how many other people don't know that, but if you pull your refrigerator out and you vacuum the coils, it will increase its efficiency. Your home will be cleaner.
Oh.
You'll save electricity, and it's a very simple and important, but like it probably takes 5 minutes to do, is to clean out. I had no idea.
No way.
Vacuum the back of your refrigerator. Vacuum out those coils twice a year to help your fridge last longer, use less electricity, be more efficient, and help the world. So there's
Help
a
the
chore.
environment, save some money too, save energy efficiency,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like, well, it takes. What would that take? 5-10 minutes? Like, it's not
Yeah.
like that's a huge chore. Like,
don't think so.
That's interesting because I've never heard of this before. Maybe my parents were doing this growing up and I didn't know it was going down, or maybe my parents' fridge hasn't been cleaned.
Right? I wonder how many people
That's
out
pretty
there
weird.
know this.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that is a what can I do? This weekend you can all have a chore for yourselves.
Some spring cleaning.
Yes,
some
spring
spring cleaning.
Clean out behind your refrigerator. Vacuum those coils.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
It's on my to-do list
Yes.
now. It's on.
I saw the video like last week, so I haven't done it, but on the to-do list. But thanks everyone for listening, and we will probably have more to talk about and celebrate for 150 years of the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens being around, and we hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for all your support. Until next time.